Here we are at the border between my old neighborhood, nothing that I want to go back to, and my new neighborhood. Saluting the farmers, the bakers, the butchers, the truckers, grocery store clerks. That's my old neighborhood, somewhere a few kilometers, miles that way, and in N.A.C.W.P, which is part of NDG Montreal. I kind of used to live in a moldy basement. I remember just moving because I got that blackout, retrograde amnesia, and some memory loss. But that's my old neighborhood. Sometimes I go for shopping, for business, for pleasure, for working out, but I don't want to go back to anything. I died during COVID, celebrating surviving COVID, marking 5 years today, and until March, between February 7th, 2020, and of course March 24th, 2020, I had COVID, had COVID, and I survived COVID with that, and that's what we gotta get doing with that LOVE. We gotta get that expenses, and gotta be grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, got food and coffee. Just paid my rent today, as you saw in the first video, part 1. This is the last day of February, and hey, I gotta put on some gloves because it's dropping on the minus, going east. Already commencing the ascension towards the mountain, the 3-peak mountain. Mount Royal proper, which has 3 peaks: West Mount, Outremont, Mount Royal, and always grateful, thankful, Gotta begin with gratitude here in the Collectif, North American civilizational complex, spiritual allegiance to our families. We rock and roll all the way to the mountain, Mount Royal, and of course all those electricians, plumbers, bakers, butchers, on this Friday before the Sabbath of the dancing goddess, and the Dragon Kingdom begins at midnight, a second past midnight. That is already Saturday, first second of Saturday, until Sunday sunset. So more than 44 hours, almost 45, more than 44 hours, almost 45, more than 44 is the Sabbath of the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. Calling all willing and loving, pledge your allegiance to our family, support the dream. My dream is fundamentally a call for a public private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex, and marking 5 years in 2020. Had COVID between February 7th, 2020 and March 24th, 2020. So 5 years, because we're 2025. We're 28th of February, last day of February 2025. March beginning tomorrow, and just a few hours ago paid my rent in full, fully paid my rent. So paid my rent for March, paid the electricity bill, and paid my credit. I don't have a credit card, but it's a credit line with the RBC. So got a little bit of $100 in case of emergency. But now I'm tight on the budget. But for $5.66, I got some candy, some sweets for the weekend. I was craving some hamburgers, big burgers, cheeseburgers, double cheeseburgers. I wanted to eat like 3 burgers, hamburgers, and a cheeseburger maybe. But I said, another time we're gonna have to re-budget again, see if I could maybe make myself some. It would be less expensive, but I was really craving a triple hamburger, triple cheeseburger. But hey, gotta be grateful what I have, So my only stress now is financial. Besides that, I'm open for business 24/7, I live a simple, austere, severe, but highly active lifestyle, and it hasn't been easy to do. Asperger's, have that HFA, high functioning autistic, and of course my holy trinity of special interest, because we neurodivergence people with Asperger's, we have what's called special interest, also known as obsessive interest. So in those special interests, also known as obsessive interest, we're super dedicated, super focused, super intense, super in it. So just today I was doing about 6 hours of geopolitics back and forth across the mostly North American centric, because we're preoccupied with those tariffs of 25% coming in, those 25% tariffs, and of course I have been them, and we'll continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border ever since 2018, when I have been discussing of course Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018. 2018 on aluminum, 10% on aluminum and steel. That's what he imposed the tariffs back then, and ever since then I've challenged Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border since 2018, and I got those red gloves in the backpack, red hoodie, red scarf, red gloves. Red my favorite color, like the backpack. Red scarf, red hoodie, red backpack. So happy NWO challenge Donald Trump, you know. Canada coast to coast, North Americans unite, support a dream. My dream is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership, a PPP, across the North American civilizational complex. And like I said, you know, challenging Donald Trump since 2018, when I wasn't really, I was staying out of politics. I was just coming out of my depression and being suicidal. And of course in 2018, Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel 10%. And of course that's what kind of got me into politics as a Quebecer Canadian and somebody who was born in the United States, in the USA 3 times. Once was born as a woman, twice as a man. Post 1776, served in the United States Armed Forces, 2 different wars, 156 years apart. And once was born as a woman, you get that 50-50. 50-50. You get that 50-50 now. Androgynous, pansexual, aspie, got an Asperger's, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical analyst, and theorist, and mystic, believer in reincarnation. I credit my surviving COVID to the goddess, G-O-D-D-E-S-S, to the forgotten goddess, or the goddess of many names, of which I will to build the temple. Thank you, construction workers. Credit some feet washing, massages, rock and roll. For the construction workers on steel toes with the cranes and on the Canadian-US border, my will to build together Canadian United States, the North American people, Imperial People's Coliseum, but us, we're north of you, you're south. So in a way we're gonna unite, fuse, north and south again, with the 21st century, everything that we got, and build the forgotten goddess temple, or the goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S, goddess, temple of a trillion, a billion, a million names, and forgotten goddess temple. That's my will to build on the Canadian-US border here, Mount Royal, at the Belvedere Conjure Neck, or if not, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum with the first sports events, a big imperial Canada-US public-private partnership built Imperial Coliseum for North Americans and all who come to join us. But us, we're north, true north, strong and free. My brothers and sisters in the USA 50 states, plus Canada, together fused and, you know, united with a common destiny. In a more centrist, I will to see Mr. Granddaddy President Trump to sign 3 executive orders for healthcare, public healthcare, mass financing, public healthcare. Sign an executive order with that. Sign an executive order for the rebuilding of the North American inner urban cities, aka the ghettos. The ghettos of North America needs to be rebuilt, and for mass financing or rehabilitation for the vets, for the homeless, for our population or more vulnerable, you know, if they have to will, of course, that has to come from a will of rehabilitation, you know. I would say I wish I would have had 50,000 to give, well, actually to give 50,000 to thousands of people. So I would have had 44 billion. I would have given 10%. I would have taken 10% of that 44 billion, which is 4.4%. And post November 6th, I would have went and given incognito down, dirty hoodie on across North America. I would have given 50,000 to black, white, and whoever, women, men, black or white, homeless, in a vulnerable homeless situation. I would have whispered, this is your second chance. This is my redemption. I would have given 50,000 to many, because with 10% of 44 billion is 4.4 billion. So I would have been able to do lots of good and give a lot of second chances. And that would have been my redemption and my second chance to distribute 10% of 44 billion. Please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, please mass donate finance and of course the owners of the players, mass finance women's sports leagues, and of course mass finance the rebuilding of the North American inner urban cities, aka the ghettos. Of course, mass finance the charity, and please reduce the cost of the tickets of the NHL, National Hockey League, NFL, National Football League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB by 44.9%, 44.9%, 44.9%. That's my estimated cost for the tickets that need to be reduced by 44.9% in order to be at par with the increases since 2020 February of the products. Of course, record-breaking increases in prices and record-breaking public and private debt. Thus, I always make the statement in my videos that my debt refusion theory, the DRT, paradoxically, when I discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory, another Operation Northern Scorpio, and of course, some of my dreams and protocols and initiatives, you gotta forget more the other that I have Asperger's, that I'm HFA, and I have a high-functioning autism, and my scars, my struggles, my RA, retrograde amnesia, and loss of memory, and remembering, because I have blackouts, you know, of trying to access memory that dates back for more than 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, then it's kind of like blackouts, you know. I mostly remember the past 7, 8 years. And crossing Canada coast to coast, before that I was depressed, suicidal, and in 2017 I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. When I come out of being depressed, I was depressed, suicidal, and I crossed Canada coast to coast. That made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians and our family Quebecers here, my family Quebecers, Canadians and North Americans, my brothers and sisters in the USA. I don't know about the 51st state. I believe in my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, but on the 50th state, of course, there are 15% of citizens of Canada, so it's a considerable amount which support a fusion in a parallel fusion with the European Union. But my brothers and sisters in the USA, as much as I don't support Trump, and I'm not a Trump supporter, not a MAGA supporter, I would have voted Kamala or Harris. I would have voted Kamala Harris or Biden, of course. But, of course, it's Granddaddy Trump. There's a different way. If you will to invite us Canadians, don't do it with bullying. Don't do it with tariffs. Don't do it with bullying. Don't do it with tariffs. Don't do it with bullying. Don't do it with tariffs. Do it with the proper way. Invite to Canadians to visit across the 50 states, to visit tourism and launch some of that good cheerleading, say for the good loving cheer, our cherished and loved state, as you say, throw some parties as an invitation. Then more Canadians might consider it like that, without the threat of bullying and the threat of tariffs. Because we need each other, whether we like it or not. We're in this together here. We're a new collective, emergent civilizational collective, and we have a common destiny. My brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians, the king is absent, the king is absent, the king is absent. It's time for the Republic, it's time for the Republic, it is time for the Republic. And yours truly being that it's time for the Republic. It's time for the North American Union, the North American Democratic Republic, being a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. Our centrism is tied hand in hand with my Trinity of theories, which I firmly, of course, believe in: the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT debt fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory. So we gotta fuse, gotta unite, investing in the border. We gotta get rid of the border, make a common census, integrate the security forces based on my new 911 11 protocols of the protocols. Of course, for the protocols, which of course I call for their implementation, and there we go. I'm gonna wait to cross on the other side like that. So here we are. We're gonna crossing on the 13-12. We got plenty of seconds, so just to be prudent on the road, and gotta watch for some black ice and ice here and there, so I don't slip and slide. You know, gotta get it for that. So by the way, the Trinity of theories, I believe my universal revolutionary centrist, of course, my revolutionary centrist is of course stride in hand with my Trinity of theories, and being I'm a democratic Republican, a Republican Democrat, a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. But this universal revolutionary centrism was mine, Dragon's universal revolutionary centrism, is tied hand in hand with my Trinity of theories, and is North American centric, for what I call as a philosopher the North American civilizational complex. The North American civilizational complex, and here gotta give a salutation, semelovi, to my brothers and sisters who are blacks, my neighbors included, black, 13.3, 13.4%, my brothers and sisters in the North American Collective are blacks. So my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, is non-sectarian, of course. It's fundamentally for the public-private partnership. Public-private partnership, a democratic republic. The king is absent, fellow Canadians. As much as I got Canada tatted, as much as I have Canada tatted on my arm, having to have Canada tatted on my arm, it's not enough. The King Charles is not going to come fight, defend us, be in an invasion from China or from Russia. And it begs the question, because geopolitics is my realm, and I know there's emotions, feelings, and whatever have you involved, but when it comes to geopolitics, the study, the analysis of geopolitics, that's my realm, my kingdom, my domain. That is my realm. That is my kingdom. That is my domain, geopolitics. So the study of geopolitics is, of course, my kingdom, my realm. That is my special interest. So being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted what's happening now, back in 2019, in October, November 2019, I have predicted that there's an international conflagration, aka a World War III, So we got to be implementing on that. We got to be thinking about that. As much as I disagree with many of Trump's proposals, policies, just want to redress that. Granddaddy Trump, at the end of the day, we're not enemies. We're not enemies. And we have to, but you have to invite us properly. Not with bullying, not with 25% threat of tariffs and all that. Keep it on the good, loving language. With some good loving, throw some parties. Throw some honey, Trump some of that honey. You know what I mean? Say, throw some cheerleading. Say yes. You have resources, population. We have the population. You have the resources. We can only strengthen each other. The North, true North, strong and free, but it's not enough. True North, strong and free. Strength and freedom is not enough. If somebody not making love, LOVE, and somebody is, because I saw 3 couples on the way, because I've been on my march already for hours and hours, and this is part 2 of the first video where you see me going to my bank, paying my rent. Take my rent money, which I paid, but today's the last day of February, so I paid my rent for March, so that's how it goes. That's how the drills is, and that's how we're gonna go do it with that. So it's something which we have, it's something which we gotta be, transmission and reminiscent, because all this civilization is a privilege, and we constitute an emergent civilizational complex. So as I said, we say we are the true North, strong and free, but that's not enough, eh? I gotta be some LOVE, some love with that, just like my brothers and sisters in the land of the free and the home of the brave, where I was 3 past incarnations, lifetimes post 7076. Once was born as a woman, twice a man. So in the USA, armed forces, same army, 156 years apart. There's something in my eye, my eye. Oh, it's gone. Thought I was gonna got a bit of a bug inside my eye, right eye this time. Anyway, so that's what I was saying. That land of the free, home of the brave, being brave and being free. You gotta add some something, 4th dimension also to that. Some LOVE, some rock and roll of that love. Rock and roll me some of that love, 50 states. I don't know about that 51st state, because we're a diverse country, but what I do know is the king is absent. The king is absent. What I do know, the king is absent. What I do know is the king is absent. The king is absent. Where was King Charles? It was just me, you, and us. You, 40 plus million, coast to coast. It's a new world now. It's more dangerous. There's rearmament, militarism, wars, conflicts. I predicted it back in 2019. Myself, I'm just financially stressed, and yes, certain things myself am mediocre, average and so-so. I've struggled maintaining keeping employment. Neurodivergence, being Asperger's, is also mistaken for a mental illness, which is not. It's not enough education, but in the past 7 years, it's been a lot of progress, and more neurotypicals have an understanding of what Asperger's is, high functioning autism, so it's more understood. It's more understood more and more by the neurotypical population, of which the majority is more than 99%, and I'm part of a less than 1 percentile. Less than half of a percentile. In 2017, the estimated North American population, which had Asperger's, was at 0.44%. So that's not even 1 out of 300, right? So not even 1 out of 300. Not even 1 out of 300. So you got to keep that in mind with that as I ascend now the mountain, and that geopolitics is my kingdom, my realm. I have predicted what's happening now, what's unfolding now. I predicted it back in 2019. In October, November, I do geopolitical theoretical analysis daily. That's my daily bread. We have special interests, ASPs, people with HFA, high functioning autistic, Asperger's, and those preoccupy our daily routine. We're super concentrated, super involved, super in it, super intense as well. So my Trinity, Holy Trinity, special interest, geopolitics, 24/7, sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport, and dancing is my favorite fitness activity, and rock and roll. You know, I was rock and roll for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. How about the truckers and the public workers? You gotta swing me some hips. Let's go Canada, United States. On the go, coast to coast for the Dragon Army. My initiative, the Dragon Army, is fundamentally for the North American integrated security and service force, only and strictly merely for defense, security, service, and rebirth, and it's joy, and recreation. Defense, security, and service, the two complementary, covenant, and cooperative institutions, 21st century public-private partnership institutions, the Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, the DGA. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity, and to be for purpose as well, for joy, for purpose, for pleasure, to replant the trees for the environment, to clean the waters, the lakes, pollution, and we gotta get more electric, you know. So it's always a compromise. I understand you need to work, people need to work, financial, economic, commercial pressures. I understand them fully, you know, fully to the fullest. I had many jobs, especially during COVID. I would really like the warehouse, and with the senior citizens, the elderly. Thank you for building this North American complex in the 20th century, all the work labor to build the farms, the aqueducts, the highways, you know. It's not all about Wall Street. It's not all about money, and you know it. You know it, it's not all about money. It's not all about money. You know it, it's not all about money. Right? So I gotta get some love, some justice, you know, and to get the justice, you know. Right now I could say, you know, freedom gotta be insured. You know, freedom gotta be insured. Freedom is such a dangerous new thing, you know. Now freedom has to be insured. We cannot just say security to base our, and as much as I understand peace through strength, I understand it. But to a certain point I support it, but not fully, not 100%. Got a 50-50 on it. And you gotta get some LOV with that, right? Because we gotta have peace through love as well. Strength is peace through strength. I understand it. I support it 50%, 50-50. You gotta have some love also. Somebody had good love. Somebody making good love now, coast to coast. Black, white, and rainbow. Come your black, white, rainbow, black, white. Men, women, you want to come LOVE. Want to come some love. I learned a little bit of the art. A speck of dust that I am. I learned a little bit of art of loving. The art. A-R-T, art of L-O-V-E. I learned a little bit of that art of love. I learned a little bit of that art of love during COVID, you know. Homosexual love, rainbow love, black, white, but I want, you know, I'm gonna card you, eh? Just like I'm a bouncer in the club. I'm gonna check your cards. You gotta be 18 or plus for this one, eh? Although I think Quebec is 16, age of consent, but I'm still gonna go with 18 plus. You wanna come love me? Kisses I got by the trillions. Kisses I got by the trillions. Kisses I got by the trillions. That's what I'm laying the foundations of the First Kingdom Empire. For the Empire, Dragon Army, push-ups and hugs. Push-ups and hugs. Trillions of kisses. Created from the forgotten goddess. Here as I march in Westmount, a multi-million-dollar houses, homes. The only 150% I'm gonna give to my anonymous friend who, throughout the many years, wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never really had any. Wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never really had any. Wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never really had any. I wish I could give her a house here. This house would be okay for both of us. We could split 50-50. 50-50, half. Because now where I live is a small. Still better than where I used to live. I used to live in a small, moldy place. I just remember moving, maybe, I'm assuming the mold, living in mold there, or being surprise attacked, and I like hit my head on the floor, on the ground, had a dislocated arm, and I have several flashes of in the past years at night, and as I roamed with one city, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries for many years, being attacked, so into some, I got plenty of scars and loss of memory, and or maybe COVID. Sometimes it comes back, memories that you lose, and just like blackouts, like flashes. My memory is super good on a daily basis, on the past years, and mathematics and geopolitics and language based and whatever have you. Is just some other memories. I guess it's gone, I guess. And just like I say, I died 5 years ago. I had COVID. I really thought that was it for me. In 2020, I said, what is this? It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. Of course, when I say that it was like death, pestilence, and disease, I know it sounds like a hardcore death trash metal song, but that's how I really felt. Death, pestilence, and disease. See, yesterday's video, we were there, miles and kilometers away, and I pointed towards the mountain here. So that's how we are. That's down. Now we're on the west mount, peak of the mountain. You see how high we are? We are very high. We are in the mountain now, very high on the mountain. You can see that's why it's below. See how high? It's high altitude. The mountain. See how far it does. See how they're below there. Now you can see, sometimes we're there on that side, and I point towards here. I point towards here from miles and kilometers away, and the mountain, three-peaked mountain system, Mount Royal proper, which has 3 peaks. Westmount, now I'm on the peak Mount Westmount. Now I'm in Westmount. The Westmount, which is one of the peaks of the Mount Royal proper, my second home, and the Belvedere, central headquarters of the Belvedere, Conjuring Belvedere, the back on Mount Royal proper, on Mount Royal proper, and the other side is Outremont. So it's right between the east and the west of the big metropolis island of Montreal. See down now. See where we are. So now sometimes I'm there, pointing towards here when I do the videos, or somewhere there. So we're kilometers, miles away from my dragon's lair now. And again, celebrating 5 years since I died of COVID, and I got a sense of LOV, enough of my B now. So truckers on the road, butchers, fast food workers across Montreal Island, metropolis island of 2.5 million people, cooks, chefs, cleaning workers, firefighters, LOV of the North American Collective. See how we're down? How when you look down, look down, we're afar off. So the mountain here, mountain system can be seen afar off from hundreds and hundreds of kilometers and miles away from the island. Oh my, not hundreds and thousands not thousands, but it can be seen from afar off the mountain system, Monroe, from outside of Montreal for kilometers and miles, many kilometers and miles outside of, and roundabout, kind of like in a circle, because it's like an island, but you can see it from the northeast, west, south, because it's right between the east and the west, but not exactly between the north and the south. So it's slightly south. See, and now we're still not exactly on Westmount, the peak, exactly at the top, because there it still goes up. See, it still goes up. So there somewhere is the top, but we're pretty high up now, and you're gonna see. So anyways, marking. See, this one's for sale. I wouldn't hesitate to get this for my anonymous friend. Let's go, Celine Dion, Oprah, millionaires. Let's go, millionaires. Finance for my anonymous friend. This house here, Westmount. I guess we're on Sunnyside. 54, it's for sale. I need some color though. 54 is for sale. 54, number 54. I believe we're no longer on Sunnyside though. No, we're not on Sunnyside. Sunnyside is parallel. It's down, so I'm not sure what name of the street is here. So correction, it is not Sunnyside. Sunnyside is the street parallel to this one. That street, they're parallel. That street parallel. That's Sunnyside. So this street we gotta check what it is. So anyways, marking 5 years. Actually celebrating with this March dance. Rock and roll always for the farmers, the truckers. Thousands of truckers now on the road, east, west, north, south, going around about North America. With eggs, with chicken, with bread, with butter, with goods. How about that supply chains? You know, we gotta get rid of the border. Create a common passport and integrate via my Dragon 911 new 21st century protocols, which I've started writing about 7 years ago in my many different collaborations. Many different collaborations with security services, you know, which you gotta get. So I collaborate on national security matters. That's why my total mobile defense theory, or TMD, total mobile defense theory, TMDT, or the TMDTS, total mobile defense theory system. I do not discuss it overly in depth because it got, of course, consequences for it, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. See, sometimes we're there, or far yesterday when we went on the video where we went with that backpack, big red backpack filled with lots of goods. And I bought those potatoes, the vinegar, and you know, the little things on special, the juice is 66 cents, see? And that's Sunnyside, that street parallel there, Sunnyside. Sometimes we're there, kilometers and miles away. Now the camera is pointing south of Montreal, Hawk Island. You can see part of the downtown core area. You can even see part of the pyramid, which is of course my favorite skyscraper there. That's there it is, Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal, Metropolis Island. You can see part of the downtown, 2.5 million people. That's the second most populated city in Canada. It was the first for many decades until 2010, I believe, 2012 or something like that. For only about a decade ago, Toronto became the first most populated, because it was still for decades and hundreds of years Montreal was the most important, even in North America, the most populated city. And even now it has 2.5 million people, and Toronto got like 3. And of course top 7 or 8, it's in the top 10. I think it's 7th or 8th in North America. Canada, United States, Mexico. So Mexico City is very big, and another city in Mexico. 3 cities in Mexico, I believe, are top 10, and 3 cities in Canada, and the rest, or something like that, or 5 cities in the States, 2 cities in Canada, and 3 in Mexico. Got to double check, but we're in the top 10. 7th or 8th most populated, and don't want to stay much, but there we're gonna go. We're gonna launch it up. So sometimes we're there. You can see how high we are now, although it's not super visible for that, but that's what it is with that. So we gotta get it on the do. So that's what we gotta get it, you know. So let's go. We're gonna go still all the way to the top. Well, here we're kind of at the top, but we're gonna go the other peak I'm in. Alright, because of course I gotta get back by midnight, so I'm gonna be clocking in a little bit of 5 hours, you know. So that's what it is. I'm gonna clock in 5 hours for work, and that's why we gotta be on the loving side, you know, with that. So it's XYZ, and that's how we gotta be. Yeah, I just saw a couple kissing a bit. I think they kissed or they hugged, and that also gives me hope. That's worth also defending for. But somebody better make LOVE tonight with consent. My main message has been is and will be this: with consent and hygiene, hug. HUG like you never hugged before with consent and hygiene. Hug like you never hugged before with consent and hygiene. Hug HUG like you never hugged before with consent and hygiene. Hug like you never hugged before. I did a split, half a split. I gotta check it for black ice. You know, don't curse me, you're gonna come back 11-fold. May I be avenged 11-fold. May I be avenged 11-fold. May I be avenged 11-fold. That's a new song. Old song, new song. Butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, plumbers. How about some loving for the welders? Where the welders at? Firefighters, electricians, and the plumbers and the doctors. Always March sing for rock and roll. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party. 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 You know, we gotta get that N.A., North American N.A.C., North American Collective N.A.C.W.P, 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 North American Collective Workers Party, the N.A.C.W.P. That's why we gotta get rolling with that, and we gotta get those construction workers. Let's build the 444, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and of course the pyramid, House of the Dragon, Scarlet Crimson, Scarlet Crimson, Scarlet Crimson, Scarlet Crimson, Scarlet and Crimson are shades of red, and also with the Dragon, pyramid, House of the Dragon, and of course the Rainbow People's Palace, Rainbow People's Palace, Rainbow People's Palace. That's all we gotta be, building the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ community, being part of both the neurodivergent. So we were on Summit Circle. So you want to check out Summit Circle, Summit Road, the Summit Circle and Summit Road. So we were on Summit Circle, so to check for that house there. I want to get it from my anonymous friend. That would be nice. I wish I'd give her 777 number after 6 before 87 houses, and I will get pledged 50% of every million, every billion, every trillion that I make. But my main thing is the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, to build the Forgotten Goddess, GODDSS, Goddess Temple, or the Goddess Temple. The Goddess Temple, the Goddess. Doesn't have to be named Forgotten Goddess. The Forgotten Goddess Temple. The Forgotten Goddess Temple. It can be not only the Forgotten Goddess Temple, it can be, of course, not only the Forgotten Goddess, it can be also the Goddess Temple, the Goddess Temple. And it can be also parallel to it, next to it, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum for sports and fitness 24/7 all year round. And the first sport match boxing event will be yours truly, Dragon versus Trump, Dragon versus Trump, Dragon versus Trump. And yours truly gonna build the Forgotten Goddess GODDSS temple, and I'm gonna build with that also the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, or the Goddess of many names, the Rainbow People's Palace, and the pyramid, Scarlet Crimson, House of the Dragon, House of the Dragon, House of the Dragon. That's what I need here on the island. Chosen from 1904, March, whatever the case may be, April. That's all we gotta get doing with that, and that's all we gonna get on the LOVE side, you know. And it's something which we gotta do conjoint, and we gotta be on that meditation. Spring's coming soon. This I can split also 50-50 with my anonymous friend, but I need some colors, some red, some green, some purple, some orange, some pink, some red, some pink. I love pink. Hey, pink is red and white together. Nice combo, but I love the combo red, white, black, white, and red. I also love that combo, red, white, and black. But this I could split 50-50 with my anonymous friend, and really need. I'm still happy where I am, but it's a small place, but it's smaller than where I used to live. And I just remember it was very moldy where I used to live, and I don't know, I just moved from there and was depressed, suicidal, cross Canada coast to coast. Crossing Canada coast to coast really made me establish a strong esprit de corps, a strong esprit de corps, with my fellow Canadians. So establishing that strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. They're our family. Quebecers are my family. Canadians are my family. My brothers and sisters in the USA also. You want to invite us properly for the 51st state, for the 51st state. As a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and of course, we need public healthcare. We need the public healthcare. We need public, as you cannot just have private. My vision is private-public partnerships, you know. We have to do better. Public healthcare, mass finance, wellness, mass finance, public care. Please, executive order on that. We got to put 10% tax. 10% tax on the millionaires and the billionaires for that to be financed in the public, man. In the public. Now I'm going to discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory. I'm financially stressed. Forget that I have Asperger's. Forget I'm part of the LGBTQ community. Focus on this. But it does come from having Asperger's, because the curse of Asperger's make me present now to you the debt refusion theory, which is the only solution, or something very similar to my DRT theory, is the solution mostly in part for Canada, but also for the United States, because much of the public and the private financial situation for many citizens, myself included, is quite catastrophic and dire. We have reached both record public and private debt levels. We have reached both public and private record debt levels. We have reached Canada-US joint, Canada-US together, both joint public and private debt, record debt levels. So now the DRT theory, standing for debt refusion theory, and integrated in my DRT theory, is also integrated in it the monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union. The Europeans, they destroyed their own central banks. The Germans, they destroyed their national central banks. The Italians, they destroyed their old central banks. The French, they destroyed their own central banks. Many in Europe, they destroyed their own national central banks. They no longer have a central national bank. They have a multinational central bank of central banks. So it's many nations, they don't have a central banks, national central banks. We still have the Bank of Canada is a national central bank. The Federal Reserve, the U.S. Acts, has the same fundamental principles as a central bank, the Federal Reserve. It's called the Federal Reserve, but it's still the central bank of the United States. But in the European Union, they don't have that. So my debt refusion theory, in my DRT debt refusion theory, is integrated that theory, monetary integration theory. So that's super important to keep in mind while I'll discuss it. So the motive, the reason, the principle behind making my statement that the DRT theory, my dragon's DRT theory, standing for D for debt, R refusion, T for theory, is the only solution, or something very similar which resembles my debt refusion theory. I'm making that statement, of course, that the fact that last year we paid $46.5 billion on the public debt of Canada, just in interest. So the interest, only the interest, debt servicing is the interest. Debt servicing is a more technical term to relate to say the interest paid on a loan. So the interest paid was $46.5 billion on the public debt of Canada. $46.5 billion. A billion has 9 zeros. That is 46,000 million. 46,000 million. That is 46,000 million. So that's 46,000 million. 46,000 million. That is 46,000 million. That is 46,000 million. That is 46,000 million. That is 46,000 million. So that is the amount, 46,000 million. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind that in 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion, 20.3 billion was the number. So if you make the calculation, mathematical financial calculation, 20.3 double, it's 40.6. 20.3 double is 40.6. 20.3 double is 40.6. So you notice that last year was 46.5. Thus, you see that it more than doubled just the interest paid on the public debt. in 3 years. Yes, due to COVID, of course, due to COVID. But COVID made it so because we had to implement programs and protocols to sustain the population in terms of the crisis of which we were back then. Certainly due to COVID. So COVID, the cause mostly, but not only COVID is the cause, because it was increasing nonetheless. But the pace, the fact that more than that was due to COVID, we had to implement programs to sustain the population during the lockdowns, to sustain the population to be able to pay rent, to pay, otherwise we would have had 10%, 15, a quarter percent homeless or whatever, right? And who pay rent, whatever the case may be. So that's why we got to get it on the go. So that's what we got to get doing on the LOV. So that's why we got to get it on the go. So we got to get it for the do, and that's why we got to get it on the love. So that's why we got to get it for the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the the universal exchange unit. And of course, we're going to take all the public and the private debt. We're going to take all the public and the private debt, and that's what it is, We're going to take all the public and the private debt. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. We cross on the side there. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. We're going to take all the public and the private debt. Here, I'm going to cross on that space here. We're going to take all the public and the private debt, and yours truly is going to take it all. So that's what it is with that. That's what it is with that. So that's what it is with XYZ, So we're going to get it for the LOV, and here we're going to trans from the side. Let's see if I can go by that side. Here we go. So that's the Canadian Armed Forces. Got to give some LOV salutations. So that's what we got to get doing on that for the XYZ. So that is what we got to be thinking about, that the fact that it doubled. That's what it is, and that's what it is for the XYZ. So the fact that it doubled, of course, from 20.3 to 46.5, from 20.3 to 46.5, 20.3 to 46.5. Yes, due to the COVID protocols, which had to be implemented, right, to sustain the population, when of course the things had increased of such as it has increased, and it was the increase thereof, So that's what we gotta be doing with that. So that's what we gotta be doing. So the fact that is just the fact. That is just the fact. So that is the COVID situation which caused this. So mostly not only. So yours truly, we're gonna again make a principle. And keep in mind that if the interest double, right? Just let's say for a citizen, make a parallel financial mathematical principle of the interest payments doubling. Let's say I don't have a credit cards myself, but let's say citizen X, citizen Y, or citizen Z. Let's say, or for you, somebody who listens to this now. Let's say in 2020-21, you paid $156 interest on the credit cards. And in 2024, last year, you had to pay $333, because 156 double is 312. So 333 is more than double 156. So let's say the interest, only the interest, debt servicing, the interest paid on credit cards for somebody, citizen X, goes from 156 to 333. That means that, of course, if the salary doesn't double, right? It has to cut and reduce the spending, reduce the budget. Where are you going to cut? The Netflix, you're going to cut smoking cigarettes, maybe cut bacon, cut cheese, cut going out to the movies, cut ordering pizza, food, whatever. You have to reduce. Unless the salary doubles. But the average salary increase from 2020 to 2025 has been 4.4%. The average salary increase from 2020 to 2025 has been 4.4%. The average salary increase from 2020 to 2025 has been 4.4%, right? So very few. Let me know if you know any salaries which doubled. Very few salaries doubled. Some increased 5%, 3%, 2%, 4%, 5, 10, let's say 15%, right? But if the interest doubles, so then you have to reduce the spending. So it is the same with the public finance as is in the private, as a private citizen. In the case that the interest payments would have went from 156 in 2020, 2021 to being 333 in 2023, 2024. So basically that's what it is. So then what? The GDP of Canada, the economy of Canada has not doubled since 2020, since COVID. Far from it. Sometimes it went even in the negative in November last year. It's 1%, 2%, 1.56%, right? Annual GDP increase. It takes decades and generations to double, but it took just 3 years for the interest to double on the public debt. well, of course, the GDP of Canada, the national production, the economy of Canada has not doubled. That's clear, right? Even the percentages really not considered. But again, so we're gonna have to cut. What are we gonna cut? The police, the prisons, the prison system, correctional facilities, prisons, correctional facilities, prisons, correctional facilities, public security, RCMP. Just saw 2 weeks ago, thousands of layoffs coming in the Immigration Canada of workers, which is a public institution. Immigration Canada, thousands. That's a big layoffs. But what are we going to cut? Healthcare, public sanitation, garbage collectors, compost collectors, recycling. You have to, it is on the horizon. There's a possible black swan event for the public finance of Canada. On the horizon, there's a possibility of a black swan event for the public finance of Canada. On the horizon, there's a possibility of a black swan event on the horizon for the public finances of Canada. It could happen Monday, the 3rd of March, Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday the 3rd. Breaking news. Public financial collapse. If the 25% tariffs come on the 4th, let's hope not. 4th, let's face it. As much as we can be emotional, sentimental, Canadians, 80%, 80+%, $8 out of 10 we export. Our exports go to our brothers and sisters in the USA, the US market, in the United States, which is, 9 times more populated. So the ratio of the population is 9-1. But also we have more territory, right? And lakes and resources and lumber and mountains. So we have, the United States is also big, and I will to visit the 50 states in Grand Canyon. I am a Canadian, Quebecer, North American. I also am part of the USA, although I don't have double citizenship. I only have Canadian, got Canada tied up. But in the US, the public and the private finances system, like I just said, for Canada is pretty much similar, eh? So the DRT, let's do it simultaneously, not just for Canada, but Canada, US jointly. We have to. It's an emergency. Listen, it's the interest rate. There's no way out of this but the DRT theory. There's the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory. Emergency. It's an emergency. It's a possible black swan event happening as soon as Monday the 3rd. If not next week or next Monday, the week after. Full moon. 12th of March, full moon public collapse. It's possible, brothers and sisters. The debt has doubled. The debt paid has doubled, That's what I need to do. So the debt has doubled, So that's just the debt which has doubled. The debt has doubled. Paying the debt, the interest on the debt. Not the debt itself, the principal, but the interest paid. So there's no way out of this. Otherwise we have to cut. We have to cut a lot of public services, eh? So it's a big problem. DRT explained, debt refusion theory stands for DRT, debt refusion theory. Let's establish it simultaneously, public-private partnership, and it includes monetary integration theory. So DRT explained, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my $10,000, yours, all the debt of Canadian citizens, all the public and the private debt of Canada, Canadians, public-private debt of Canada together, convert it to the US dollar, all that debt, we're going to add it with the public and the private debt of the United States. We're going to add it with the public and the private debt of the United States, with the public and the private debt of the United States. All that money, that's going to be all the money, that's going to be all the money converted to US dollar, added together. Public-private debt of Canada, US joint. Convert Canadian public debt and private debt put together to the US dollar. We can extend it. Mexico, if they will, is part of the North American Collectif. Mexico, but principally Canada, US. And it could be extended if they will. Haiti, Mexico, the islands, Jamaica are part of North America, the North American Collectif as well. So all the public and the private debt, 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 We gotta get it on the XYZ. That's how we gotta get doing on that. So all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. We're gonna add it all together, and all that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All the public and the private debt is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. For a new central bank. All the money, public, private debt, Canadian debt, United States debt, will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. There you can go sliding, and you can ski. See, it's not that visible, but you can go ski there. It's public, and you can go slide there, big slides. The public workers take care of them, so it's a nice place if you want to ski. Also, so skiing, sliding, and skating. Skating, sliding, and skiing. Skiing, sliding, and skating. All options here at the Mountain World that are available for you. So be safe and enjoy. So all the public-private debt, all the public and the private debt, converted to US dollar. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new bank, for a new central bank, right? All the public-private debt. We're going to create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar called the UE. U.Universal, E.Exchange, U.Unit. U.Universal, E.Exchange, U.Unit. The UE, U.Universal, E.Exchange, U.Unit. The UE. U.Universal, E.Exchange, U.Unit. The UE. The universal exchange, based on the value of the US dollar, we're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. On all loans thereafter 10%, it could be less. 3.33, 6.1, 7.18, 9.3, 4.18, etc. Below 10% by principal. So we're going to create the universal exchange unit, the UE, a new currency, or whatever the new dollar, the name is, just because that's what money is. Money has a function. It's an exchange unit. That's why the universal exchange unit, and we can of course extend it furthermore to create it across the NATO alliance, across the NATO alliance, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, across the NATO alliance, across the NATO alliance, across the NATO alliance, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, across the NATO alliance. It can be extended, but first for North America, the North American Collectif, which is Canada, US. We're gonna, with that money and the creation of the UE, and via the implementation of my DRT, debt fusion theory, which includes monetary integration theory, MIT. Of course, with that money, we're gonna rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collectif, rebuild the bridges, build more hydroelectric dams here in Quebec, and power plants for our infrastructure, the bridges, the power plants, the hydroelectric dams, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, fitness, my own creative workout training program system, which I've created back in 2019, which requires no equipment, which is simple, effective, and what it does, it has a deep complex science behind it, but what it does, it increases general overall fitness, it increases general overall fitness, it increases general overall fitness. That's my workout program system does. It increases general overall fitness, right? That's what it does. And we're gonna mass finance it. Mass finance the building construction of 44 tunnels. 44, the number after 43 before 45 is 44. The number before 45, and 43 between 43 and 45 is 44. 44 tunnels inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, the NORAD headquarters inside the mountain, inspired by that building, and the underground Tokyo sewers, and the Montreal Underground Village here in Montreal Metropolis Island, my home in this life and in another life. The underground metro system, the underground metro system, the underground metro system, the underground metro system. That's what it is with that, and that's how we're gonna get doing, So that's how we're gonna get doing. So that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So it's XYZ. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the debt converted to US dollar, and that's what we're gonna be doing with that. So all the public and the private debt, gonna create the UE. So what it is, and that's what it is with that, and that's what we're gonna get doing. So that's what we're gonna do. All the debt, public and private debt, public and private debt. So we're gonna get doing with that. So we're gonna do the UE, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the UE. We're gonna create it, the universal exchange unit. So all that we're gonna create the UE, the universal exchange unit. So all that money, public-private debt, that's gonna be a new currency. The UE, we're gonna do a lot of good. Build those tunnels, rebuild the infrastructure, mass finance, tourism also, implement Operation Northern Scorpio and Operation Northern Scorpio for security, service, and defense, and for Scorpio for below, sea, ground, all-terrain ground, and the Northern Hawk, N.A.C.W.P, my stolen bird, for the air, and mass finance intra-North American, Canada, joint U.S. tourism for citizens, based on one of my theories of protocols, which of course was named and called Public-Private Partnership Citizen Integrated Initiative for mass finance tourism across the North American Collective for general overall wellness, because it did me some good, you know. So it did me some good when I crossed Canada 2017 in August, went to BC, British Columbia, Vancouver, and then went to September in Halifax in September, September went to Halifax. And that event made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Quebecers. Canadians are my family, and somebody got to sing it a little bit. For the boys and girls in blue, ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Somebody got to sing it. For the boys and girls in blue, ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Somebody got to sing it. For the girls and boys in blue, ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. And for my brothers and sisters who have lost their freedom, liberty is new, eh? Is new under the sun, Mr. King Solomon. That's new under the sun. Liberty, freedom, you know. It's got to be insured. Those who lost their black, white, brown, whatever, across Canada, U.S. joint. I've written a theoretical paper and said that we get to North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act and put them to work on those 44 tunnels. Put them to work. Canada, U.S. joint, Dragon Army, North American Citizen Integrated Criminal Rehabilitation Act. Let's get that going. Public-private partnership, the king is absent. The North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, 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 North American Criminal, N.A.C., North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act is gonna put them to work for those 44 tunnels, you know. And for defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, Dragon Army security and service, and if needed as protocol, worst case scenario, to implement Operation North American Dracula. Implement protocol, implement Operation Protocol North American Dracula. Protocol North American Dracula. So that's what we gotta do, and that's what we gotta get doing. And again, those who lost their liberty, you know, across North America, it's something new. We gotta get rehabilitation, you know. We gotta have some justice, you know. And second chances. I know I had my second, third chances, and here marking, celebrating, survived COVID. I really thought I was gonna die. 2020. In 2020, you know, when I had COVID, I thought I was gonna die, and that was something when I thought that was my last day, my last chapter, but it clearly wasn't so. I survived, and nothing that I was to go back, and that's just what it is with that, and living it carpe diem it every day, with that. So that's all we gotta get doing on the go, and Hi to Quebec, LOV, let's build more dams. Mass finance citizens fitness and mass finance citizens to work out, to train, to exercise. It did me lots of good and still does me lots of good now being joyous, and I'm already more than 3 hours now total today. More than 3 hours now because did an hour earlier and now before I started another hour, more than an hour. So, and it takes me a few hours because it's depending which route I take. Sometimes I snake it and do a longer route. So this is gonna be a bit longer than a straight line, which is usually 13.4 kilometers. So it's gotta keep that in mind. Here at the Belvedere Cognac, my second home. I'm gonna go all the way to the top, then clock it in back. So that is for the DRT, debt refusion theory. All the public-private debt, put it together, convert it to US dollars, Canadian public-private debt. Added, do the mathematical addition with the US. That's going to be the initial money supply with all that money in circulation. I'm going to create the UE, Universal Exchange Unit. It's going to cap an interest of 10%, and we're going to do lots of good with that. Here we need to also mass invest. Military, Armed Forces of Canada, I believe my Dragon Army Protocol, calling for joint public-private partnership for the Dragon Army and the DGA, for the Septennium ASAP, for a few $trillions, trillions, mass finance for a 7-year period for building those 44 tunnels and struggling those 44 and the building of the rebuilding of the North American inner urban cities, aka the ghettos of North America, the ghettos, mass rebuilding, mass rejuvenation of our public parks, public spaces, and the North American ghettos, mass financing fitness, channeling the aggression. I don't like violence. I do not like violence. I don't like violence. I am intense. I'm N.A.C.W.P. I'm Jordan Spanish Circle. I'm Adrian Hanna Dragon, who died during COVID. Keep my name out of your mouth. It's not for blessing. Otherwise, let it be pestilence. I'm Adrian Hanna Dragon. Keep my name out of your mouth. It's not for blessing. Otherwise, let it be pestilence. Keep my holy sacred name, rebirthing Adrian Hanna Dragon, my holy sacred name out of your mouth. If it's not for blessing, otherwise, let it be pestilence. LOVE, healing, health, strength to my allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance, to our family. Pledge your allegiance, to our family. Pledge your allegiance, to our family. Financially stressed, but paid my underground layer. Another month. March. Got those boots. March more than the generals of NATO combined with those boots. And here when I come, to the mountain, my mistress, my second home. Here it is. I go deep in the forest, even at night. You might find me in the at 3 a.m. somewhere. Maybe I have my shelters. You never know. Maybe I got shelters. Maybe I got some tunnels dug in secretly here over the past decade. Is 11 years as my memory, of course, goes retrograde amnesia, that blackout like that hardball ball. We're gonna play defense like that hardball ball, aka the blackout ball. We're gonna play defense like that hardball ball, aka the blackout ball, and we're approaching the Belvedere Cognac, the headquarters, my second home, and that's how I will my gratitude. Farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, truckers on the road. Somebody make some good loving of the firefighters. I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, but please, Wall Street, millionaire, billionaires, finance the firefighters of North America and the nurses in the public nurses, public firefighters, and those who pick up the garbage, those big machines, big trucks with they're athletes also. Finance them bi-weekly massage therapy sessions, bi-weekly massage therapy sessions, or some spa or some recreation, because I'm going to take a bath. I've been craving a massage therapy session for years. I've been craving a massage therapy session for years. But here I am for years, but grateful, thankful, going to take a bath. Been craving a massage therapy session for years, but here I am, top the mountain, my second home, and maybe I'm somewhere here at 3 a.m. So sometimes in the morning here, overseeing North America, the world maybe, with a rainbow, the moon and the sun, the moon and the sun and the sun. Here you see that big rock formation, and here we approach my second home, and where many times when I come here I get flashes of reincarnations, past lives, past life regressions. I am a mystic as well as being a philosopher, artist, athlete, geopolitical, theoretical, honest, and theorist who rocks and rolls. For the truckers on the road, firefighters and the grocers and the butchers, plumbers and the electricians, those flipping some burgers, please finance them. Massage therapy session, massages, some spa, and the Sabbath begins at Friday midnight for the North American Union. Let's get rid of the border, do a great Canada-United States joint census, do an assessment and see everybody who's been living here, and do a North American passport ID, a North American passport and ID together, get rid of the border and get a passport and ID, get rid of the border, get rid of the border and give a passport and an ID, and get rid of the border, you know, get rid of the border, get a passport and an ID. So that's what it is with that. Get a passport and an ID, get rid of the border and make an assessment and join views, and of course create a common currency, the UE, and the public-private partnership. The king is absent. It's time for the republic. We need the Dragon Army, the Canadian Republican Defense Force, or the Canadian Defense Force, or the Canadian State Troops, Canadian State Troopers, fused, RCMP, existing security forces, reformed RCMP, local national police, and the 911 protocols, because 911 is both Canada, USA, and Mexico also has 911. To be from the future for security service and defense, and build mass across the North American complexes and big cities where we have monitoring, and we monitor surveillance, all the collective 24/7, the ports, the airports, and where we have activities, if people will to volunteer and reward volunteering, and credit UEs for my workout training program system, and that's what we do with that. That's what we're gonna do with that. So that's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. So gotta get doing on the go. So we gotta get doing. So we gotta get on the go. So that's what we gotta get it doing, you know. So we gotta get it on the go. I just don't understand yet. I think
Probably like less than 2,000. Yeah, it's a small community. We don't even have a stoplight. Stop sign. There's nothing on there. Wild horses and stars. Huh? Yeah, wild horses. They don't want to, but a lot of the government does like a roundup every year. They're hard. I would love to break wild stallion. That's like one of my dreams. Yeah.
so. That's the favorite skyscraper. That's the favorite skyscrapers there, you know. So there's firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. We're gonna drive it in. Here's at the top, you know. So that's what we got, and that's what it is with that. So it's something which we gotta do, and something which we gotta do on the XYZ. And here is the headquarters of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. The headquarters of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Headquarters. What a dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom right here. Laying the foundations with trillions of kisses and That's my favorite skyscraper, the pyramid. Here's Montreal, Hawk Island, Hawk Island, you know, that's what it is with that, that's what it is with that, and that's what I need to get doing with that, and that's what I need to get on the XYZ with that, and that's what we gotta get doing on the LOVE, you know, so we gotta get doing on the love, you know, so it's XYZ and XYZ with that, and that's what we're gonna do, you know, so it's something which we gotta be focused. Headquarters of the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom right here. We need the flag of the dragon flag, and the 7-pointed star of the goddess GODDSS, 7-pointed star, and the flag of the USA, joint flags here. Belvedere, conjure knock at the back. This is bury me with Papa Crawley, a third of me. Send a third of me, bury me in my death. 1/3 in Hampton, New Jersey. 1/3 here, the back of the Belvedere. 1/3 the city of the pyramids, Cairo. And this is the headquarters. So let's go for the banquet between March 20th and April 10th. Banquet, all willing, loving. Pledge your allegiance to our family for the banquet. Pledge your allegiance to our family for the banquet between March 20th and April 10th. The banquet here for the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Pledge your allegiance, inviting all the leaders, Wall Street, public, private partnership, all willing, loving. Donald Trump, Justin Trudeau, all past leaders, presidents here. The banquet, the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom to the mountain, and pledge your allegiance to our family. We're gonna have to switch a bit to that French now, because we're in la belle province, so LOVE. Get ready for some French. Hey, bienvenue. On est sur le Mont-Royal, ma deuxième maison, dans cette vie puis dans une autre. Québécois, je vous invite à faire de l'amour puis à faire de l'entraînement physique, que ça soit bien sûr. Pour faire de l'entraînement physique, je suis à la marche déjà plus que 3 heures. On est le dernier jour de février, puis c'est le chalet, le Belvedere du Mont-Royal. Le Belvedere du Mont-Royal, ma deuxième maison, ma maîtresse va dragon arc-en-ciel. Je descends puis je m'en vais chez nous parce que je commence à avoir faim un peu, puis je déjà que je vais faire du repos parce que j'ai fait bien de l'entraînement hier. L'entraînement que j'ai fait, bien sûr, j'avais le sac à dos, puis il était lourd, mais maintenant c'est un peu lourd. J'ai les gants rouges que mon ami anonyme, que je vais demander encore en mariage. J'ai demandé une fois, il y a une couple d'années, puis je vais demander encore, même si je suis androgyne, pansexuel. Monsieur, madame, 50-50, même si je suis androgyne, pansexuel. Monsieur, madame, 50-50, même si je suis 50-50. Androgyne, pansexuel, même si je suis androgyne, pansexuel. Monsieur, madame, 50-50. Rock&Roll, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, puis j'ai l'Asperger's, l'autisme moindrement fonctionnel. En vous envoie l'amour, je viens de voir des gens qui se tiennent par la main. Donc, ça me donne un peu d'espoir pour voir. Le rock'n'roll, qu'est-ce que ça fait? Puis ça danse la belle province, les mains dans les airs. Les mains dans les airs. De la danse, regarde les étoiles. Merci Hydro-Québec, hein? C'est Hydro-Québec. Les travailleurs du passé qui ont bâti les centrales pour voir ces belles lumières, puis pour voir mon gratte-ciel préféré que je préfère la pyramide. La pyramide, bien sûr, que je vois, puis c'est le Mont-Royal dans cette chambre que je descends, je suis en train de descendre, je vais juste faire attention un peu, parce que des fois, il y a de la glace, hein. Il y a de la glace, je vois quand même qu'ils ont fait un beau travail, puis je descends de ma deuxième maison, puis c'est des choses, bien sûr, que je dois faire, en descendant de la montagne, ma deuxième maison, ma maîtresse, dans cette vie puis dans un autre, puis là je me dirige vers ma grotte. Je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique, puis aujourd'hui bien sûr c'est la géopolitique, un événement majeur qui a changé, ça a dérapé, la rencontre du président Trump avec Zelensky bien sûr, puis ça a dérapé un peu, puis je suis pas un partisan de Trump, hein. Vous savez que j'aurais voté Kamala Harris ou Biden, puis depuis 2018 qui a imposé l'administration de Trump, avec Trump comme chef d'État, président des États-Unis, puis bien sûr qu'ils ont imposé des tarifs de 10% sur l'aluminium puis l'acier. Puis là, d'après ce qu'on entend les dernières nouvelles, il y aura des tarifs qui viendront le 4 mars. Fait que ça veut dire le mardi. Fait que ça veut dire ces 4 tarifs, qu'ils soient le 4 mars, les 4 mars, que ça soit bien sûr les tarifs des 4 mars qui vont être imposés ce fois-ci. D'après les dernières nouvelles, c'est les tarifs qui ont dû être imposés en février, le 4 février, qui ont eu un mois de pause pour voir qu'est-ce qu'on fait avec la frontière. Puis vous savez que moi-même, en tant qu'analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, en descendant ces marches, il faut que je fasse attention. Puis je vous dis qu'on n'a pas besoin de la frontière, on n'a pas besoin. C'est mieux qu'on investit les ressources humaines puis l'effort, la finance pour la sécurité de côte à côte, parce que c'est les ports puis les aéroports, les ports puis les aéroports, les ports puis les aéroports, bien sûr, les ports puis les aéroports qui sont le plus en convergence pour que ça fasse du sabotage ou des choses néfastes comme le fentanyl. Puis, le fentanyl, c'est quand même un danger. Puis là, on a le cannabis qui est légal. Là. Moi, j'en fume pas beaucoup, mais quand même, le cannabis est légal. Fait que je suis pour la légalisation quand même d'autres drogues, mais bien sûr, il faut que vous fassiez attention pour que ça fasse... pour pas que ça glisse. Tout
le monde le paye. Tout le monde le paye un jour ou l'autre.
Et bien sûr, pour en faire l'attention. Attention, il y a de la glace si vous montez.
Il y a de la glace en haut.
Mais quand vous montez les escaliers ici, c'est quand même la glace, mais plus haut, ça devient mieux. Fait que juste se bousser ici jusqu'en haut.
Merci, monsieur.
Messieurs, des fois, madame. Vous aussi, pareillement. Anyway, ça fait qu'on va faire une chanson. Fait que, comme je disais tantôt, avec l'arrivée de Trump, le Trump qui se met en situation dans ce conflit, parce que c'est un conflit qu'ils n'ont pas été capables de résoudre du 20e siècle. Fait que j'avais prévu la situation actuelle en 2019. C'est pour ça que je reviens toujours en 2019, en octobre, quand j'avais prévu la situation qui se déroule, Fait que dans ce cas-là, ici, en Amérique du Nord, c'est sûr qu'on a fait le grand compromis du français, ici au Québec, bien sûr. Puis bien sûr, on a fait d'autres compromis pour la continuité d'avoir la paix, pour avoir la paix en Amérique du Nord. Mais eux autres, c'est des conflits qu'ils n'ont pas été capables de régler ou résoudre 100% en Russie puis en Ukraine. Ça date bien du 20e siècle. Moi, c'est ça ma spécialité en géopolitique, c'est le 20e siècle puis le 21e siècle. Mais de nos jours, j'en fais au quotidien. Des fois, c'est comme des heures, bien sûr, pour s'en faire des heures, bien sûr, d'entraînement physique pour en faire, bien sûr, des entraînements physiques avec la géopolitique parallèlement. Mes marches, méditation, la géopolitique, j'en fais au quotidien. Fait en tant qu'autiste, c'est l'Asperger's, autisme fonctionnel, j'ai des intérêts spéciaux. Fait que ces intérêts, ça préoccupe pas mal de mes journées avec un rituel, une routine quand même assez sévère, là, vis-à-vis ces intérêts spéciaux, Quand même, je passe des heures par jour en faisant des analyses en géopolitique. C'est sûr que j'en vais des fois, c'est des nouvelles du Québec, du Canada, puis des États-Unis, premièrement de l'Amérique du Nord. Parce que je suis nord-américain. Je suis québécois-canadien, mais je suis aussi nord-américain. Je peux l'être un citoyen du monde, mais je suis pas sur le terrain, J'ai pas 300 hommes et femmes ou 300 femmes, quoi que ce soit, pour aller que j'aurais fait un couple de semaines, pour j'aurais fait voir qu'est-ce qui se passe sur le terrain en Ukraine. Je peux... qu'est-ce que je peux en savoir exactement, J'en sais un peu quand même, sans trop de détails. Sans trop de détails, Là même que j'en connais sans trop de détails. Je viens de descendre les escaliers du Mont-Royal, donc ça fait du bien. Fait que, en vous disant que aujourd'hui ça a été un gros changement, mais même si je ne soutiens pas Trump, il y a des points que je comprends vis-à-vis les discussions avec Zelensky qu'il y a eu, puis que ça a mal tourné un peu. D'après les analyses que j'ai faites, Zelensky aurait dû avoir quand même plus de d'appréciation, de remerciement, plus de gratitude, là, ça a été quand même quelque chose, puis c'est parce que je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, puis je suis conscient que, comment il dit, certaines choses que Trump, il dit, c'est quand même des vérités en termes de géopolitique, que l'administration Biden, tout ça, ça a quand même donné des milliards, en temps de supporter avec des armements, puis financièrement, ça a été quand même un financement massif, des milliards à l'Ukraine, des milliards de dollars. C'est l'estimation de plus que 350 milliards. 1 milliard 100 000 millions, c'est des chiffres énormes. Fait que moi, je reviens toujours à ma théorie de la refusion de la dette vis-à-vis l'intérêt qu'on a payé sur la dette publique. c'était 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards, c'est énorme sur la dette publique. Ça a plus que doublé. Même nous, c'est possible qu'on va devoir couper dans le budget, couper dans les finances publiques parce qu'on est à veille d'avoir un effondrement vis-à-vis à ces finances publiques qui sont en crise. Puis même que moi-même, je vis une crise financière en ce moment, mais hey, je dois dire ma gratitude. Hein? La gratitude, je viens de payer mon loyer pour le mois de mars. On est le dernier jour de février. Pour le mois de mars, je viens de payer mon loyer. Je viens de payer mon loyer pour le mois de mars. C'est le dernier jour de février. On est le dernier jour de février. Je viens de le payer tantôt. Je suis allé à la banque. La première vidéo, vous pouvez voir. Et ça, c'est la deuxième vidéo d'aujourd'hui. Le dernier jour, vendredi avant le sabbat. Le sabbat du royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse. Qui est mon royaume pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Que je fonde avec des milliards de bisous. Milliards de bisous. Pour la fondation du royaume. Le royaume, l'empire de la déesse et du dragon qui danse est fondamentalement un appel pour un partenariat public-privé. Puis je viens de payer mon loyer. Aussi, j'ai tout de suite le loyer, l'Hydro-Québec, l'électricité d'Hydro-Québec, merci Hydro-Québec. Travail du passé, du présent, du futur, puis je veux combattre pour construire plus de centrales. Puis en bâtissant, construisant ça, aussi, la troisième facture, j'ai payé 93,93 pour la TLM, de dollars sur ma... J'ai pas de carte de crédit, c'est une ligne de crédit à la Banque Royale de 10 000. Donc, je peux dire que je suis 10 000 en dette, mais moins de 93, là, parce que j'en paye, fait que ça me donne une marge. Puis là, je suis déjà dans le moins, hein. Je vais arriver demain le 1er mars, moins 300 dans mon compte, mais je paye 4 pour avoir je peux me permettre d'aller jusqu'à moins 500 dans le rouge, ma couleur préférée à moins 500, ça me maintient pour pouvoir payer tout le loyer et tout ça. C'est une chose qui s'appelle l'overdraft en anglais, overdraft, pour avoir avec des arrangements avec la banque. Les gens, des fois, ils peuvent aller plus dans le rouge, là, mais moi, c'est 500, ma limite, 500, mais tu sais, je suis dans le rouge, fait que je suis en crise financière, mais j'ai payé mon loyer, je suis ouvert pour les affaires, j'ai bien l'emploi que j'ai mis durant la COVID. En marquant aujourd'hui, jusqu'en mars, je célèbre. J'ai eu la COVID entre le 7 février 2020 puis le 24 mars 2020. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence paradis. C'était vraiment comme la mort, la pestilence paradis. Je dis que ça sonne comme une chanson de, tu sais, du heavy metal, rock&roll. La mort, la pestilence, la maladie, les bombes nucléaires, l'as d'aujourd'hui, l'as en transcendance, le metal, le rock&roll. Tu sais, ça sonne un peu comme ça. Mais c'est ça que j'ai ressenti. Je pensais que j'allais mourir, tu sais. Puis dans bien des cas, je suis mort. Je dis souvent, ben, je suis mort. Je suis en train de renaître. Il n'y a rien que je veux retourner en arrière, mais en 2020, là, je pensais que j'allais mourir dans ma grotte où j'habite maintenant, la petite grotte du dragon au temple. Puis je vous ai fait appel pour qu'on construise ensemble sur la frontière du Canada et des États-Unis. Je veux bâtir le palais du peuple. Le palais, le colisée du peuple, le colisée impérial du peuple nord-américain vis-à-vis le temple de la déesse, oubliez. Le temple de la déesse, oubliez comme Dieu, déesse, le temple de la déesse, oubliez le temple de la déesse, oubliez comme Dieu, déesse, le temple de la déesse. Ça, je veux en Amérique du Nord. Parce que moi, je crédite, moi, ayant survécu la COVID de la déesse, D-E-E-S-S, la déesse d'un million, un milliard, un trillion de noms, la déesse oubliée. Puis je veux bâtir le temple. C'est sûr que c'est des travailleurs en construction, qui vont bâtir. Merci avec les grues, puis comme vous avez bâti les centrales d'Hydro-Québec, puis bien sûr les autres appartements, les blocs appartements, puis les gratte-ciels. Moi, je peux mettre sur la table des bisous, des chatouilles, des lavages de pieds, des massages, puis ben du rock&roll. Je ne mettrai pas juste du blablabla puis la philosophie, là. C'est sûr que je vais mettre quelque chose, tu sais. Parce que les autres choses, ça ne me sert pas. Des amis avec bénéfice seulement. J'ai perdu bien des amis. Tu sais, je me suis fait beaucoup d'amis dans les dernières années. Mais j'ai perdu quand même beaucoup d'amis, puis de l'emploi aussi, parce que sais, cette condition de l'Asperger, c'est mal compris. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui pensent que c'est une maladie, tu sais, c'est une maladie, mais c'est pas une maladie, là. C'est juste une condition de neurodivergence. Nous, on a de la misère dans les communications sociales, les choses du savoir dans le social, quand parler, quand ne pas parler, ne pas s'approcher trop proche. Des fois, tu sais, dans la conversation, les Aspergers comme moi, on se rapproche tellement proche des gens, tellement proche des gens, tellement proche des gens, tellement proche des gens. On se rapproche d'une... Tu sais, on n'a pas l'espace personnel, tout ça. Il faut que j'y travaille constamment. Puis des fois, ça prend un effort. Puis ça prend un effort là, de comprendre ces choses-là. Puis des fois, on est direct ou on a l'air comme si on serait un peu... C'est trop direct ou offensif, mais c'est pas parce qu'on veut l'être. C'est juste que des fois, on est direct. Puis dans ces choses-là, on est direct ou honnête. C'est juste ces choses-là qui nous rend, ben, c'est sûr que c'est une minorité, là, c'est moins d'1%, moins de 0,5%, c'est 0,44% de la population de l'Amérique du Nord qui ont l'Asperger. Fait que c'est moins d'1 sur 300, c'est moins de 1 sur 300, c'est moins de 1 sur 300. Fait que il faut toujours bâtir des ponts avec les neurodivergents. Je l'explique, c'est quoi l'Asperger. Il y en a qui savent, puis c'est juste, ça a été difficile, ça a été quand même difficile, là, avoir perdu beaucoup de l'emploi, des frustrations de l'emploi, la dépression suicidaire, c'est des cicatrices, je me suis fait attaquer par surprise, puis la perte de mémoire, l'amnésie rétrograde, puis comme, on se souvient juste les 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, hein, je me souviens avoir habité une place, en Côte des Neiges, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, j'ai déménagé de cette place, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures. Ayant déménagé de cette place, tu sais, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, j'ai déménagé, puis je commençais à m'entraîner. En 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada, et bien sûr, en traversant le Canada, ça a fait un esprit de corps, j'ai commencé à avoir un esprit de corps solide, on va traverser la rue ici. Commencé à avoir un esprit de corps solide avec les Québécois et Canadiens, puis les Américains du Nord, les Nord-Américains comme nous, mais nous, on est dans le Nord, puis nos frères et sœurs aux États-Unis sont dans le Sud. Fait que si on fusionne, on va se fusionner comme le Nord et le Sud au 21e siècle. Puis je suis pour la fusion. Je ne suis pas du 50e État, là. 50e État, 50e, je suis un centriste, hein, mon centrisme révolutionnaire, universel et nord-américain est centré avec le collectif, que j'appelle le collectif nord-américain, puis il est intégré avec ma théorie, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, puis la théorie de la fusion démocratique pour le collectif, parce que mes initiatives, puis mon appel, là, quand je dis je vous appelle, prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille, pour le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, c'est fondamentalement un appel à un et pour un partenariat public-privé. C'est fondamentalement un appel pour un partenariat public-privé. Fait que c'est fondamentalement ça. Je vous appelle pour un partenariat public-privé. Et bien sûr, tu sais, là je descends de la montagne, puis c'est fondamentalement ça. Mon rêve, le royaume qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Fait que c'est des choses que moi-même, il faut que je fasse. Fait que c'est des choses que moi, il faut que je fasse un effort constamment en tant qu'HP, en tant que quelqu'un qui vit avec l'Asperger, comme je vis avec mes cicatrices. Puis je célèbre aujourd'hui. Hein. J'ai survécu la COVID. Je pensais que c'était mon dernier chapitre. Je pensais that's all, pour moi, je meurs. Mais c'était vraiment quelque chose d'autre. Puis je sais pas, c'était comme sur la COVID, ma trinité d'explications sur la COVID, c'est premièrement, j'y crois que c'est les serpents qui l'ont transmis. Il y en a qui pensent que c'est les chauves-souris, les porcs, les cochons, que ce soit quoi, d'autres comme animaux. Mais moi, je pense que c'est les serpents. Ben, je suis pas sûr, fait que je peux pas dire non à une autre théorie. Une autre théorie. Je suis pas sûr. Troisièmement, je suis pas sûr. La quatrième dimension à cette trinité de penser que c'est les serpents qui ont fait la transmission de la COVID à l'être humain, ne avoir un doute. Puis, donc, si j'ai un doute, je peux pas nier que ça peut être une autre explication que la mienne. Donc, une explication comme que ça soit une bombe, une arme bactériologique ou arme biologique. Une arme biologique. Tu sais, fait que je peux pas le dire à 100%. Mais qu'est-ce que je sais ça, exactement, c'est bien sûr que en 2019, j'avais prévu qu'il y aurait une conflagration internationale en octobre 2019 parce que je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique. Puis j'ai prévu une conflagration internationale. Je me suis basé sur des analyses profondes, mais fondamentalement, car j'ai conclu que, vu au fait que bien des régions, des civilisations, des pays, des nations, ils n'ont pas été capables de résoudre leur conflit du 20e siècle, ils vont reprendre ces conflits-là dans le 21e siècle. Fait qu'en grosse partie, qu'est-ce qui arrive maintenant avec l'Ukraine et la Russie, c'est les conflits du 20e siècle qui ont repris en Israël-Palestine, Israël-Hamas aussi. C'est les conflits du 20e siècle. Bien sûr, possiblement, bien sûr, le Taïwan puis la Chine puis le Taïwan aussi. Fait que c'est des conflits qui n'ont pas été capables d'avoir de résolution pacifique. T'sais. Ils n'ont pas eu de résolution pacifique à ces conflits-là. Fait que c'est possible qu'il y ait... qu'il va avoir, c'est que ça, j'avais conclu que ces conflits-là vont reprendre d'une manière plus de conflits vis-à-vis ces conflits majeurs dans le monde. Fait que j'avais prévu comme une troisième guerre mondiale, dans le fond, une conflagration internationale basée sur plusieurs niveaux d'analyse en géopolitique, parce que je suis moi-même un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique qui a fondamentalement prévu la situation d'aujourd'hui qui nous touche, bien sûr, tous et toutes d'une manière... Ben c'est sûr que ça ne touche pas de tous de la même manière, mais veut pas, ça nous touche. Puis, comme je dis, mes initiatives, protocoles pour l'armée du dragon, la création de ces deux nouvelles institutions pour la sécurité, pour le service et la défense, l'armée du dragon, fondamentalement et en union, bien sûr, avec l'armée de la déesse qui danse, puis l'armée du dragon, que ce soit pour la sécurité, pour le service, puis la défense, principalement pour la sécurité, le service puis la défense, fondamentalement, et principalement pour la sécurité, le service puis la défense. Le service puis la sécurité puis la défense. Fondamentalement et en principe, tu sais, c'est ça, bien sûr, que c'est mes initiatives. Donc, j'avais prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe en octobre puis en novembre. J'ai la preuve parce que j'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement. En faisant la création de mon propre système d'entraînement physique, j'ai fait la création de mon propre système d'entraînement physique, fait que j'ai fait cette création, cette institution, fait que j'ai fait ça. J'ai fait cette création, la création de mon entraînement physique, un système d'entraînement physique que j'ai fait moi-même la performance de plus que 372. J'ai fait moi-même plus que 372 performances de mon propre système que j'ai créé moi-même en 2019 pour y aller parallèlement avec une situation de Troisième Guerre mondiale. Ça s'appelle l'entraînement du dragon. Bon, en laissant de côté ces choses-là, il faut, je le dis maintenant, bien sûr que en le disant, bien sûr, maintenant, c'est bien sûr que ça fasse parallèlement qu'on est rendu à peut-être avoir une troisième guerre mondiale même, de que je me rende chez nous, peut-être, il y a une invasion du Taïwan par la Chine. Parce que c'est un conflit qu'ils n'ont pas résolu. Hein? C'est un conflit qui date encore du 20e siècle, de la guerre civile. Fait que la géopolitique, c'est mon intérêt spécial. Les Aspergers, nous, les autistes fonctionnaires, on a des intérêts spéciaux. Fait que ma trinité d'intérêts spéciaux, c'est la géopolitique, 24 sur 24. Je passe des heures par jour à faire de la révision, l'analyse des événements du jour, parce que les événements, c'est au quotidien. Des événements majeurs du jour, la semaine, du mois, des années, puis des décennies. Ben, fait que, bien sûr, c'est aussi, parallèlement, l'entraînement physique, le sport. Le sport que je préfère, c'est la danse. La danse. L'entraînement physique que je préfère, c'est la danse. Et bien sûr, avec la danse et l'entraînement physique, c'est aussi l'entraînement physique et la danse. L'entraînement physique et la danse, c'est aussi, bien sûr, la danse et l'entraînement physique, c'est aussi le rock&roll. Fait que cette trinité, j'en passe du temps, puis c'est mes intérêts spéciaux. J'en chante du rock&roll, et je rentre dans des transes de rock&roll à chaque jour. Bon, là, je veux discuter de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est super important, mais je dois faire des salutations, de la gratitude encore une fois. Mais j'ai payé mon loyer aujourd'hui pour le mois de mars. Je l'ai payé aujourd'hui, dernier jour de février pour le mois de mars. J'ai payé ma facture d'électricité pour le mois de mars 2025 à l'Hydro-Québec Go. Puis, j'ai payé un peu de ma ligne de crédit. J'ai pas de carte de crédit, mais j'ai payé un peu que je pouvais. Fait que je dois vivre avec un stress financier, mais J'ai de la nourriture, j'ai du jus chez nous que j'ai acheté hier à 66 cents, puis il va en rester pour la dépense pour le mois de mars, à peu près un gros total de, je dois faire une révision, à peu près 156 maximum, 156 que je dois vivre. Si j'ai pas dans, c'est sûr que si j'ai un emploi, j'attends, j'applique, j'ai fait des applications, je suis en attente pour un docteur de famille, je suis en attente pour un docteur, pour l'optométriste, pour que j'aille au dentiste, il faut que je fasse, là, j'ai fait plein de démarches, plein de postulations pour du travail. J'en ai eu du travail aussi durant la COVID, bien des emplois, avec les CHSLD, avec les aînés. Merci pour avoir construit ce collectif nord-américain. Et bien sûr, j'ai bien aimé, mais des fois, ça ne dure pas beaucoup à cause que les Asperger's, on peut être bizarre, pour les autres qui ne comprennent pas, qui pensent que c'est encore une maladie mentale, des choses comme ça. C'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est notre cerveau, il est différent. Fait qu'on a de la misère à certaines choses. Avec les Asperger's, comme moi, les Aspi, les autistes, il faut nous le dire plus directement aussi, des choses. Puis, comme moi, tu me le dis, vous me dites quelque chose, je le fais, il n'y a pas de problème, je le fais. Je fais des concessions, je fais des compromis, c'est sûr, tu sais. Je suis pas inflexible, tu sais, je suis pas inflexible. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la reffusion de la dette, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. Du Canada et des États-Unis, ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui est la théorie qui a fait l'implémentation en Europe. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie, l'UI, U point unité, point échange, U point universel, puis toute la dette publique-privée, parce qu'on n'a pas le choix de faire l'implémentation de ma TRD, car est dû au fait qu'on paye un record d'intérêt. On est rendu à payer l'année passée juste l'intérêt sur la dette publique qu'on a payé, et c'est beau ça. J'ai de la misère des fois. Fait que, vu qu'on a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, imaginez-vous, juste l'intérêt qu'on a payé sur la dette publique, c'était 46,5 milliards. Ça a sauté de 20,3 milliards, qui est 20 000 millions. Ça veut dire que 1 milliard, 100 000 millions. Hein? 1 milliard, c'est 1000 millions. C'est pas 8,07, c'est 9,0 1 milliard. Fait qu'en 2020-2021, on a payé sur la dette publique canadienne 20 000 millions. L'année passée, c'était 46 500 millions, 46 500, 46,5 milliards. Fait que ça a été plus que le double, juste l'intérêt. Juste l'intérêt, là, payé sur la dette, imaginez-vous, là, ça a plus que doublé, sauf que l'économie du Canada n'a pas doublé. Fait que imaginez-vous un instant, en se faisant un parallèle de principes mathématiques, si un individu, s'il faut qu'il paye double l'intérêt en 3 ans, mais c'est sûr que le salaire, il n'y a pas beaucoup de salaires qui ont doublé. Pour pouvoir maintenir, il faut que le salaire double aussi. Il y a des salaires en moyenne depuis 2020 à 2025 en 5 ans. C'était 4,4 d'augmentation moyenne. Là. Des fois, c'est 5 3 1 1,50 4 3 Ben, pas beaucoup de salaires qui ont doublé là, en 5 ans. Très peu. Des fois, ils augmentent de 5 10 15 c'est sûr qu'il y a des augmentations de même, mais c'est double. Puis l'économie du Canada n'a pas doublé. L'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé, tu sais. L'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé. Tu sais, c'est sûr. Ça n'a pas doublé l'économie du Canada. Ça n'a pas doublé. Hein? Pas doublé l'économie du Canada. Mais l'intérêt qu'on a payé sur la dette, ça a doublé l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette. C'est plus que le double. L'intérêt payé sur la dette, c'est plus que le double. L'intérêt payé sur la dette, c'est plus que le double. Imaginez-vous, l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette, c'est plus que le double. C'est plus que le double. L'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette, c'est plus que le double, tu sais. C'est plus que le double. L'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette. Fait que dans ce cas-là, l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette, ça a plus que doublé. Imaginez-vous, c'est plus que le double. Fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre que la TRD, théorie de la reffusion de la dette. Dans ma TRD, ça inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait qu'il faut faire l'implémentation dans ma TRD. La théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est qu'est-ce que les Européens ont fait des années 90 en détruisant leur ancienne banque centrale. Ils ont fait de la création d'une banque commune. Fait qu'on va faire pareil, mais avec ma TRD. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, Canada et États-Unis. De préférence, on va faire l'implémentation de ma TRD, théorie de la reffusion de la dette, simultanément avec les États-Unis. On va prendre toute la dette publique, mon 10 000 à la Banque Royale incluant. Tout ça, l'addition ensemble, on va mettre pour la création d'une nouvelle banque. Ça va être l'argent en circulation d'une nouvelle banque. Toute la dette publique privée. Puis on va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. un nouveau argent comme ils ont fait avec l'euro. Puis la N.A.C.W.P, on va faire la création d'une banque commune nord-américaine, centrale nord-américaine. On va faire la création de l'UI, U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. L'unité d'échange universel. L'unité d'échange universel va avoir la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10% maximum. Ça peut être en bas, pas plus. En bas, pas plus. En bas, pas plus. Bien, on va rebâtir l'infrastructure avec ça de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir le projet central, construire, bâtir les 44 tunnels. Le chiffre après 43, avant 45, c'est 44. Le chiffre entre 43 et 45, c'est 44 tunnels, inspirés par les Cheyennes montagnes de Cheyenne. Puis et dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, pour la défense, pour la continuité du collectif nord-américain, il est temps qu'on fasse aussi, pour ceux qui ont perdu leur liberté, qu'on les fasse pour les travailler dans ces 44 tunnels, à travers le Canada et les États-Unis dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire. Il faut qu'on fasse, c'est urgent. Puis là, on est rendu à payer, c'est plus que double, c'est sûr que ça a plus que doublé, juste l'intérêt payé sur la dette publique à cause de la COVID. À cause de la COVID, et sûr, à cause de la COVID. Il y a eu les programmes qui ont dû être implémentés, mais quand même, il n'y a pas de solution que la TRD. On va devoir couper dans le budget, qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? Les services de police, les prisons, le service correctionnel, les prisons, les hôpitaux, on va devoir couper, hein? Parce que dans l'individu, c'est pareil, les principes mathématiques, comme si ça serait pour un individu. Si un individu, l'intérêt qui paye double en 3 ans, sans que le salaire double, il faut qu'il coupe. Il faut qu'il arrête de boire, il faut qu'il arrête de manger du bacon, il faut qu'il arrête de sortir au restaurant, les cinémas, il faut qu'il réduise les dépenses. C'est juste les principes. Si l'intérêt, ça double sur la dette publique, c'est sûr qu'il faut réduire. Merci les infirmières, amour, les ambulanciers, les camionneurs, les pompiers, tous ceux bien sûr qui font le déménagement, la cuisine, le chef de cuisine, les camionneurs, les plombeurs, les soudeurs, tous ceux bien sûr qui font travailler maintenant dans le nettoyage ici de Montréal, d'avoir de l'amour, puis la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. That's all pour aujourd'hui. Puis bien sûr, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique, soutenez le rêve, prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. 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 Je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique. L'entraînement physique a été sera ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Puis le royaume de la déesse et du dragon est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Et je vous encourage, je vous soutiens. Puis il faut qu'on en finisse avec la frontière, qu'on fasse la création d'un passeport commun. Puis bien sûr, un passeport commun, parce que c'est mieux si on investit dans la sécurité des ports puis des aéroports de côte à côte. Les ports et les aéroports de côte à côte, les ports et les aéroports de côte à côte. Les ports et les aéroports de côte à côte, mieux que dans la frontière. Faire un passeport commun, puis un recensement nord-américain, un grand recensement de l'Amérique du Nord. Il faut faire un grand recensement nord-américain. Puis il faut qu'on fonde pour la sécurité, pour le service, pour la défense, le rêve du dragon, le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé, un partenariat public-privé, un partenariat public-privé. C'est ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Et je vous encourage à l'amour. Quelqu'un fait l'amour, s'il vous plaît, à soir. Puis faites-moi l'amour, s'il vous plaît. Vous voulez me faire l'amour, noir et blanc, homme-femme, mais il faut que vous ayez 18 ans et plus. Je vous carte, je vous carte comme si ça serait à l'entrée d'un club. Ou quand vous achetez du cannabis, vous montrez les cartes, vous allez me montrer vos cartes si vous voulez me faire de l'amour. Noir et blanc, arc-en-ciel, 18 ans et plus pour celle-là. Ce jeu-là, on joue juste à 18 ans et plus. Sinon, je vous envoie et je dis, venez me voir. Je sais pas, venez me voir quand vous allez avoir 18 ans. Faites l'amour avec ces de votre âge, voilà. Bon, et en tout cas, c'est l'Empire, le royaume, je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique et la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Québécois et Québécoises, on n'a pas le choix. C'est en urgence. Peut-être on me verra le 3 mars, lundi qui s'en vient. C'est lundi le 3 mars. Là. juste avant les tarifs. J'espère qu'il n'y aura pas de tarifs, mais c'est possible qu'on va, on va avoir un effondrement des finances publiques. C'est possible. Là. C'est rendu qu'on a payé le double d'intérêt de l'année passée. L'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé. Là. L'économie canadienne a juste augmenté de 1%, 2%. C'est pour ça, vous comprenez? C'est juste les principes financiers mathématiques. C'est urgent. Là. Tellement d'intérêt seulement, l'intérêt sur la dette publique. Il va falloir qu'on coupe quelque chose. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? La police, le service de sécurité, la GRC, les services de prison correctionnelle, le ramassage de but. Il va falloir, tu sais, c'est ça le problème. C'est ça que l'intérêt qu'on a payé. C'est pareil comme si ça serait d'un individu. Si l'intérêt double en 3 ans, il faut qu'il coupe. Bien, pas beaucoup de salaires qui ont doublé, là, c'est quand même, tu sais. That's it, that's all rock and roll, là.